Hyder. I want to be your nominee, and I'm going to work my heart out to earn your vote to be the nominee.
We should never, never lose heart about who we are, what our cause is, or why we must stick together.
Avoiding the public health threat while continuing the cleanup after Floyd. And the New York mayor's threat to a museum over its plans to display some controversial exhibits.
We have a commitment to a free exchange of ideas.
If this is art, then there's no such thing as an artist.
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News, reported by John Siegenthaler.
Good evening, everyone. We begin tonight with presidential politics, even though the general election is more than a year away. Today, for the first time in this campaign, Vice President Al Gore and former New Jersey Senator Bill Bradley made a joint appearance seeking support from Democratic Party leaders. But with the latest poll showing a dead heat in New Hampshire, a key primary state, the pressure was on the vice president. NBC's Lisa Myers joins us tonight from Washington. Good evening, Lisa.
Good evening, John. It was, as you say, their first joint appearance. The vice president promised to work his heart out, and Bradley promised a real contest and real choices. The race is on. This was Al Gore's crowd, the Democratic establishment, and the new, more casual candidate did not disappoint. Taking a page from Oprah and Elizabeth Dole, the new Gore came out from behind the vice presidential seal and spoke mostly without notes.
I feel passionate about these issues.
He did not mention President Clinton, but went after Republican frontrunner George Bush on gun control.
I would say to the current Republican frontrunner, why don't you join us in the effort to take the weapons of evil out of the hands of evildoers? That would do a lot of good in this country.
And Gore took the fight to Bradley, who has supported experiments with school vouchers, hated by politically powerful teachers' unions.
I have never been for vouchers. I have always opposed vouchers, and I always will oppose vouchers.
Bradley did not criticize Gore directly, but urged his party to think big, hitting favorite liberal themes.
In a country as prosperous as ours, there is no reason we can't dramatically reduce the number of children who live in poverty in this country.
Some Democrats said the event showed one reason why the low-key Bradley has gained ground. To many, he comes across as comfortable, authentic, seems to connect with his audience. Gore gave what many called a much better than usual speech today, but still seemed to some overly choreographed. Still, pollsters say some of Bradley's surge is due to other factors, mostly what's called Clinton fatigue.
Democrats that don't like Bill Clinton are voting for Bill Bradley. He is the un-Clinton in this race.
What's more, Gore's uneven performance and sagging poll numbers have created doubts, even among supporters, doubts which the Bradley camp seeks to reinforce.
Nothing is the matter with Mr. Gore, except he can't be elected president.
In the latest NBC News poll, more voters had a negative view of Gore than a positive one. What's more, Bradley does better than Gore among independent voters and in head-to-head matchups against Republican George Bush. Gore still has powerful advantages, the support of the president and key Democratic constituencies. But his aura of invincibility is gone, John, and Democrats fear a long, bloody fight.
And Lisa, what's the concern on the part of Democratic Party fundraisers?
The big worry, John, is they're going to spend all their money fighting each other and not have enough when it's time to fight the Republicans in the fall.
All right, NBC's Lisa Myers, thanks very much. The Gore-Bradley race will be one of the topics tomorrow on NBC's Meet the Press. Clinton cabinet member Bill Richardson is among Tim Russert's guests. The president spent this day getting a complete physical. Doctors declared him to be in excellent condition for a man age 53. But as NBC's Campbell Brown reports, they also told him to cut his calories and his speeches.
President Clinton arrived at the Bethesda Naval Hospital this morning for his first complete physical in 2 years. The 5-hour exam was conducted by 12 doctors, all board-certified specialists in their fields. Their conclusion, the president has room for improvement in 2 areas, his weight and cholesterol. 214 pounds is acceptable for a 6'2" man, but the president has gained 18 pounds since his last physical. His overall cholesterol of 196 is just inside the desirable range, but his LDL, or bad cholesterol, is 134, 4 points above the desirable level. That means the president will be making some adjustments.
As a result, the physicians have recommended that the president focus again on a low-calorie diet and focus more attention also to his exercise regimen.
The president gave up jogging, something he used to do regularly, after a knee injury in 1997. Now he works out in the White House weight room. According to aides, new muscle accounts for some of the weight gain, but they admit he could stand to lose about 10 pounds. Doctors today also found and removed 2 small precancerous growths just above the president's right eyebrow. Chronic sun exposure is the suspected cause. As for one of the president's chronic problems, hoarseness,
and I lost my voice on the airplane, and I apologize.
Doctors are recommending he rest his voice for 10 days. The president has agreed to try, but he has several speaking engagements Monday in New Orleans. He has a packed schedule of meetings Tuesday here at the White House, another speech on Wednesday. Plus, he's going head-to-head with Republicans all next week over the budget. Aides say it's not likely he'll stay quiet. Campbell Brown, NBC News, the White House.
When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, the misery Floyd's floodwaters are still causing in the Carolinas. And later in Focus, power to the people when it comes to choosing an electric company.
This is a court-ordered legal notice. If you own a house, mobile home, or other structure that contains polybutylene pipe with plastic or metal insert fittings, you may be entitled to free replacement of your plumbing if it has leaked or leaks in the future. The plumbing must have been installed between January 1st, 1978 and July 31st, 1995. Call 1-800-392-7591 for information about your legal rights, including your right to exclude yourself from this class action settlement if you purchased your structure after August 21st, 1995.
If heaven were a beach, you'd have the bluest skies, the warmest waves, and Red Lobster's ultimate feast. Lobster tail, snow crab legs, shrimp scampi, and golden fried butterfly shrimp. Escape to Red Lobster.
Now our first denture cleanser keeps dentures feeling clean all day. New Fix-It-Ent with ProGuard, a breakthrough tablet and bath system. First, place your dentures into the bath and release the power of ProGuard to get them 4 times cleaner. Then you lift the inner basket to help seal in the clean with the ProGuard barrier, protecting against plaque and odor-causing bacteria from morning till night. Fix-It-Ent with ProGuard. Start cleaner, stay cleaner.
Steering so precise. We're still trying to find a word more precise than precise. Intrigue. With state-of-the-art steering and suspension systems. Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Start to command performance. Start something.
In flood-ravaged North Carolina, drenched by Hurricane Floyd more than a week ago, sighs of relief tonight. Here's NBC's Kenley Jones.
Now the massive cleanup begins as the floodwaters start to recede from eastern North Carolina, replaced by a wave of volunteers armed with mops and brooms and determination. 50 of them descended on Jackie Pasha's house today in Rocky Mount, one of the hardest hit areas. The gesture brought her to tears.
It's just a blessing. I just don't know what to say about you all. We'll never be able to thank you enough.
More than 2,700 flood victims are still housed in shelters, tended to by volunteers like June Justice, a registered nurse who came from Statesville, 200 miles away.
The nurses down here need a break. They need to be able to go back and get a rest. They need volunteers down here, and I wanted to do it.
Red Cross volunteer Ruth Hall, a retiree, came from Edgewater, Florida.
I've been helped in my lifetime, and it's time for me to give back.
Dr. Wells Edmondson, a Raleigh internist, put his practice on hold.
The Good Samaritan Creed, we have so much, and these people have been devastated down here, and it's the very least we can do to help out.
There's no way that any community could handle a disaster on this scale without some help from friends and neighbors and volunteers from across the country.
The desire to help is so great that some volunteers have even risked their health by entering floodwaters contaminated by pesticides, raw sewage, and the carcasses of dead animals. Adding to the woes, caskets disinterred by the floodwaters. Volunteers have been asked to help recover them in an effort to identify the remains.
All of us were new to it. None of us had ever seen anything like this before.
Officials are encouraged that so far there has been no outbreak of infectious disease from the polluted waters, but they say the threat still remains. Ken Lee Jones, NBC News, Atlanta.
Almost a week after the huge earthquake in Taiwan, the death toll is now more than 2,100. As NBC's Kevin Tibbles reports, the bad news is overwhelming the good.
More than 100 hours after the quake, and they continue to dig through the rubble. Taiwan is also being hit with an almost continuous wave of aftershocks. 6,000 of them so far, the strongest today hitting 4.5 on the Richter scale. This collapsed hotel in the capital Taipei is being dismantled quickly because rescue teams believe there are more than 50 people buried underneath. But time is running out.
Now it's already 113 hours, and the victims' family, they are very much lost patience, and so we have to move quite quick.
In a Taipei hospital, one of the lucky ones. 32-year-old Du Chai Chu was pulled to safety by a U.S. rescue team from Fairfax County, Virginia, and Dade County, Florida. Buried for more than 30 hours, today he said he never gave up hope.
I thought to myself, I want to my life continue still forever.
With the rescue operation now winding down and the cleanup underway, people are now beginning to ask questions about why so many had to die. The government wants answers. Why did some buildings topple or collapse while others withstood the quake? This Army captain says that one building contractor has already been arrested for using old metal oil drums instead of steel to reinforce the foundations in the collapsed apartment houses he built. In a country known to be in an earthquake zone, it's become clear this week that adhering to building codes makes the difference between life and death. Taipei's deputy mayor says Taiwan's building codes, when properly adhered to, are among the best in the world.
Similar like Japan, we have a similar code like Japan, even in California.
But those standards have been in place only since 1985, and in some cases ignored. The families of those killed in this week's quake now mourn their loss, for loved ones lost because of bad construction or safety standards that came too late to make a difference when the earth began to shake. Kevin Tibbles, NBC News, Taipei, Taiwan.
With the global economy on the mend, finance ministers from the world's wealthiest nations held their annual meeting today in Washington. Concerns were raised about the U.S. dollar's decline against the Japanese yen, but no action was recommended. The ministers also heard a plea from the United Nations that more attention be paid to creating jobs in poor countries. When NBC Nightly News continues, the deregulation of America's last industrial monopoly.
28 different children from 28 different families with 28 different futures, whose parents all share the need for help making informed decisions on what matters most: their health, their finances, their future. One name, Aetna, for what matters most.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and look natural? Get Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Brush in and in 5 minutes, gray is gone.
No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
Enterprise rent a car for my trip?
Looks expensive. It's not expensive, Mom.
They pick us up? Sounds expensive.
Pickup's free, Mom.
Well, if it's not expensive, why didn't I get a convertible?
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
Monday, how safe are you on the road? Forget big trucks. New cars, lighter and faster, could be a bigger threat. A new study and what you should know on NBC Nightly News Monday.
In focus this evening, the power to pick which power company you want to do business with. That's possible now in a growing number of states. Details from Scott Cohen of CNBC.
Shades of the long-distance phone wars. Now get ready to choose your electric company.
It's very confusing for the average person.
Confusing because of all the choices. Here in Pennsylvania, considered the leader in electric choice, more than 20 companies from as far away as Los Angeles are battling for business. And Pennsylvania isn't alone. 24 states have either endorsed or already implemented deregulation. Another 16 are considering it. So now, 3 customers, all in the same area, can have 3 different electric companies, all from different states. Philadelphia sausage maker Joe Wasinski saw choice as a chance for huge savings. Producing 20,000 pounds of sausage a day takes lots of energy. The equipment is on up to 10 hours a day, 6 days a week. The meter for the refrigerated meat lockers never stops ticking. He chose a power company from Delaware.
They actually came here physically. They walked through the plant. We discussed my utility usage, and they came back with decent rates. The savings right now are averaging about 10% a year with the business that we have here. Comes out to about $12,000 to $13,000 a year.
Going to be going out tonight.
Matt and Stephanie Coburn spend up to $250 a month on electricity for their 4-bedroom house. They went with a local company.
I like the idea of the accessibility, the low cost, and that they in fact were a Pennsylvania company.
Coburn figures in the 7 months he's used the new company, he's saved $120.
Is this yours?
Mom, is it here? That's yours then.
But saving money wasn't the main issue for Steve and Heidi Brown. They chose a Vermont company, which expressed concern about the environment and claims to use clean, renewable energy.
Even if it's just my electric bill, I'd like to be able to make a statement that this is important to me.
But the Browns are in the minority. Since customer choice went into effect in Pennsylvania January 1, the state's largest utility, PECO, lost only about 16% of its customers, fewer than many experts expected. Still, the impact on the utility industry could be huge. With the advent of competition, utilities are being forced to change their entire business models. The old equations don't necessarily work. Companies like Montana Power, which is selling its power plants. Instead of generating electricity, the company will distribute it for other power companies. And it's moving into new businesses. Montana Power provides the internet connection for this school district, the long-distance phone service, too.
The opportunities are not as obvious in the energy side as they are in telecom, and they change every day.
At least one industry insider predicts deregulation will be good for consumers.
A number of states that have moved to deregulation have mandated price decreases for residential customers.
The local electric company, no longer just local, no longer just electric. Scott Cohen for NBC News, Philadelphia.
When we continue, restoring order to a place where things had been out of control.
Rumors about free computers, but we haven't actually seen one. Not one with a monitor, a year of internet, 24-hour tech support, and a printer. Like a Gateway Essential PC with an Intel Celeron processor. Call us. For $28 a month, it's a PC you can believe in.
Why nasal cramp? Look at me. I'm not sneezing, but I'm not drowsy. I'm not stuffy, but I'm not jittery. Nasal cramp's incredible. It prevents allergies with none of these side effects. Nasal cramp. The best way to stop suffering is never to start.
No, this isn't a jeans commercial. It's about constipation. You're bloated, not yourself. Your size 10s feel like 2s.
FiberCon has natural fiber action to relieve bloating constipation.
I'm myself again.
FiberCon. Be regular. Be yourself.
What a close call with my overactive bladder. Having to go suddenly. Needing to go so frequently. But that time, I almost didn't make it. That did it. I asked my doctor about Detrol.
Overactive bladder is a medical condition. Today's prescription Detrol is proven effective to treat it. Detrol reduced bathroom visits by 2.2 times in 24 hours versus 1.1 times with placebo. 1.2 fewer wedding accidents occurred with Detrol versus 0.8 fewer with placebo. Similar decreases over 24 hours. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Detrol. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Some others may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion.
Enjoy the movie?
Thanks to Detrol.
Ask your doctor about prescription Detrol, proven effective to treat overactive bladder.
To Southeast Asia now, where there's a dramatic shift in the balance of power underway in the embattled province of East Timor. NBC's Kiko Itasaka has our report.
For the Indonesian military, it's a humiliating withdrawal. As most of the troops ship out, a force of 3,500 international peacekeepers watch over East Timor, a number which will eventually double. There were jubilant greetings for peacekeepers arriving today.
They obviously seem very grateful for the support that they're getting, and that's quite gratifying for us. It shows that what we're doing here is actually working.
But there's still no sense of calm in the capital city of Dili. Australian troops hunt for militiamen opposed to the independence, favored by an overwhelming majority. The peacekeepers check every abandoned site, making arrests on the spot. And as those driven out begin to return to burnt homes and shattered lives, they resort to looting, taking coffee and rice from this warehouse once occupied by the Indonesian army. Many of the militiamen have now fled from the peacekeepers, crossing into West Timor, where they bide their time, but vow to return and attack again. At the same time, the UN Human Rights Commission is considering a tribunal to investigate charges of atrocities against the militias. Human rights groups demand quick action.
It's fundamentally important that the United Nations put in place now a group of experts who can really do this job properly to ensure that those who are responsible for these crimes against humanity are held to account.
For the East Timorese, at last, a sense of hope that they will get justice along with the independence they voted for. Kiko Itasaka, NBC News.
In northeastern Oregon today, chain reaction accidents on Interstate 84 left at least 7 dead. This series of pileups, one involving at least 50 vehicles, occurred during a blinding dust storm and caused the interstate to be closed in both directions around the city of Hermiston. And in Nashville, Tennessee today, a fatal accident which could have been much worse. A small private plane crashed between 2 houses in a heavily populated area near downtown. 2 people in the plane were killed, but no one on the ground was hurt. Now to a health threat here in New York City. Mosquito spraying continues this weekend after confirmation that a strain of encephalitis never seen before in this country has been found here. The strain, called West Nile, is carried by mosquitoes just like the more common St. Louis strain. The West Nile strain is not as dangerous. New York's encephalitis outbreak has resulted in 3 deaths. When NBC Nightly News continues in a moment, the sensation over sensation, an art exhibit New York's mayor wants banned.
Have you tried these yet? Specialized blends from one a day. Not just herbs. Herbs, vitamins, and minerals for things like memory. Have you seen my keys? Where are the keys? 83. And energy. Excuse me. Excuse me. Even tension and mood. Help your body help itself with one-a-day specialized blends. They're just what you need to feel your best.
If you had to be stranded on a deserted island with just one other person, who would it be? A boat builder? Or a survival expert? Perhaps a fisherman? Or would it just be someone who looks really good in a swimsuit? Introducing the all-new 2000 Mitsubishi Eclipse, nicely equipped at $17,700. There are more sensible choices, but who cares?
I should have used Preparation H.
Cool it fast. Introducing Preparation H Cooling Gel. Cools on contact for fast relief. New Preparation H Cooling Gel cools on contact.
Having kids is an education.
Having 3 is a master's in economics. 1 is never enough of anything. Good thing there's Puffs Advanced. 1 can do the job of 2 of that other national brand because it's twice as strong. So you can use it every day for just about everything. And there's no lotion in this Puffs. Really strong? Works hard every day? Sound like someone you know? Puffs Advanced. Just like you, 1 can do the job of 2.
Next week, the author of a controversial new biography on Ronald Reagan, Annette Bening, Garth Brooks, and priceless advice for parents, how to keep your kids from fighting. Next week on Today.
It's like Today, only later. Later today, weekdays on NBC.
Finally tonight, a battle over a controversial art exhibit. On one side, the mayor of New York. On the other, the director of a museum. Here's NBC's Stan Bernard.
This work, called Holy Virgin Mary, is splashed with occasional elephant dung. It's the focal point of a raging debate over artistic freedom of expression. New York City is the landlord for the 178-year-old Brooklyn Museum and provides almost a third of its $23 million annual budget. The museum's decision to exhibit a controversial show called Sensation, a collection by young British artists, has turned into a war with the mayor, who may close the museum.
Since they seem to have no compunction about putting their hands in the taxpayers' pockets in order to have pigs in formaldehyde and cows dissected and have their parts put out there, and throwing dung on important religious symbols, I'm not going to have any compunction with trying to put them out of business.
The mayor, a Catholic, says he would do the same thing if Jewish, Protestant, or Muslim sensibilities were offended. The artist of the Virgin Mary painting, Chris O'Feely, is also Catholic. The Brooklyn Museum, which generally does not attract controversy or large crowds, is vowing to go ahead with the exhibit and face its greatest crisis.
Our board feels very strongly that we have a real commitment to this community. We have a real commitment to the artists throughout this country and the world, and we have a commitment to a free exchange of ideas.
There is nothing new about the exhibit or the controversy. When it first opened in London 2 years ago, some were offended, while others said most of the work was shocking, challenging, or worthless junk. But should people have the right to see it? The Association of Art Museum Directors, a national organization, says the issue is bigger than New York and released this statement. If the mayor acts on his intentions, it would set a precedent that could cripple museums across this country. There have been other museum exhibit controversies, such as this one over Robert Mapplethorpe's photographs, which led to big demonstrations in Cincinnati, and pornography indictments against museum officials. That same exhibit was pulled from a major Washington museum under pressure from Capitol Hill, which threatened to pull funding. And some in Brooklyn are against the mayor cutting off the museum's funding.
I feel that it would be a mistake to withhold the money because it's an art museum, and one of the roles of an art museum is to take some risks.
The mayor's position raised questions about how it played into his expected run for the U.S. Senate. It also raised the profile of the exhibit to a sensation and made many New Yorkers want to see something they probably would have ignored. Stan Bernard, NBC News, New York.
And that is NBC Nightly News for this Saturday. Thanks for watching. I'm John Siegenthaler. I'll see you in the morning on Sunday Today and right back here tomorrow night.
NBC News, America's news leader.